Hey there, it's Nathan, and I just kind of wanted to talk about Avatar. I feel a little late to the party on this one, as the movie did come out, quite a while ago. But hey, I mean, if you compare it to the time between Avatar 1 and Avatar 2, though, it doesn't seem so bad. And I do feel like the streaming audience has kind of gotten bigger as well. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of share some thoughts and also give it a quick review. I do feel like quite a lot, goes into making a franchise like Avatar and a movie like Avatar too. I feel like the amount of resources and kind of money and energy, that goes into this has only gotten larger and continues to get larger. I do feel like this is kind of negatively impacting movie making and entertainment in general, though, because of its at times outrageous costs and potential losses at the time of release. So this could therefore kind of be making the industry kind of minimize risk, and which may in turn stifle a lot of creativity. And it seems like loss of money is happening much more frequently now, especially with companies like Disney. But it should also be mentioned that it does seem like the majority of kind of the largest movies and kind of entertainment made lately are kind of created by two, maybe three mega companies nowadays. So this could also definitely be a factor here when kind of looking at stats and statistics and kind of which companies are losing money. But this is something the Avatar franchise definitely doesn't have to worry about. But how Avatar 3 fares will definitely be interesting. In fact, I was kind of surprised to see Avatar 2 kind of perform the way it did. It does seem like there is still quite an audience for the Avatar franchise, and I think it is very well deserved. But an interesting phenomenon could be happening here where a franchise feels big, and so the masses go out and watch it due to kind of wanting to watch this kind of big or kind of significant movie or event. Another aspect to Avatar is the franchise being planned out, multiple movies in advance, which can definitely be considered a risk here as well. I mean, it does look like 5 movies are currently already planned out. That does seem like a lot of writing and planning, but if there's inspiration there, then usually it can be wise to just go out and act on it. And with the amount of success that Avatar is achieving, it probably makes it easier for movie companies to kind of give the green light on this kind of venture. But in fact, why is Avatar so successful? I mean, that is an interesting question, and may have several possible answers, such as kind of the new technology like CGI and motion capture that was used, the emergence of 3D at the time, prevalent societal themes, and time of release. James Cameron is most definitely one of the masters of his craft, and the movie industry should feel very fortunate to have him. As he's made many of the most prevalent films ever made in the industry. He does have quite an intriguing history as well, which from my readings does seem to include doing a lot of acid, but I mean, something must have worked here because he's got 3 movies in the top 5 highest grossing films of all time. He also seems to kind of have a certain style to many of his films, such as exploring futuristic aspects like machines to kind of more natural aspects and taking a look at corporatism. His style also seems to include just making some good-ass movies. Onto the film, the story did take a little while to get adjusted to, although this may have been due to me not seeing the last film for about a decade now. Some of it did seem a little rehashed, or as well, kind of thrown in there, like the humans suddenly or kind of almost randomly returning to Pandora on ships from outer space. It also kind of seemed like a conflict was artificially created as opposed to it kind of just naturally happening. But once the film started rolling, I was able to kind of become more immersed in the world and settle in. The length of the movie did kind of seem a little on the long side, though, but this does make sense with a film of this magnitude and kind of the amount of time in production in between films. The visual splendor also didn't make it particularly difficult on the eye to watch. The characters in the film were relatively interesting, but seemed kind of more like merely a means to fulfill a certain plot line, as none of them really stood out to me in a significant way, but they were all unique and likable, at least in the main family. I also did find myself, still being able to relate to the characters and kind of what they were trying to portray, even though they were Na'vi and not, strictly humans. It does bring about the question, if characters can still connect with the audience without looking exactly like that particular audience member, whatever attributes that may be. There also seemed to be quite a lot of characters. It did take me quite some time to kind of become acquainted with them all. In fact, I don't think I ever really did become fully acquainted with all of them, even after finishing the movie. But this can add more depth to the world and storytelling and create a fuller movie. I thought the whale plotline was overall very well done, as well as Sigourney Weaver's character's connection to nature, but I did feel myself wondering, how other moviegoers would take it, especially when considering kind of how the outside world and society kind of is nowadays. I feel like it can be good, to at least include these kind of elements in films, though, to at least kind of preserve some semblance of this, as the world seems to kind of move further away from these kinds of themes. The human dude was definitely a little less than what I was expecting, as I thought this character, could be one of the more interesting ones. When seeing him in the trailer, I feel like they could have spent more time with him kind of, adjusting to life with the Na'vi, but events seem to kind of have picked up kind of after this already happened, so most of the time spent with this character was kind of merely him just kind of standing around on the ship, and kind of things of that nature. Also, I'll say it, he did seem just a little bit obnoxious. I think there are certain characters where you look forward to their scenes, and other characters where you kind of wait for the scenes to complete and move on to the next. And it's kind of funny, though, that he may have one of the best plot lines in the entire franchise with the connection with his father, and how he has to choose between him and the Na'vi that he grew up with. So I am interested to see where this plot line will go, and his aura, may adjust in future installments. The settings, the ocean setting was a vibrant and a welcome surprise to me. It almost seemed needed, now that I think about it, to kind of bring something fresh to the franchise in the second installment. It would be intriguing if each new installment added a new setting. There could even be an elemental connection here, as the first movie in the forest area could designate Earth, and the new setting in the second film could quite possibly designate water, but this isn't completely certain. So I wonder what the next element would be. The caliber of visuals is as expected, of a very high level and quality. The Avatar film seems to kind of have a special unique look to the fidelity of the image, which is difficult to explain, but really adds to a vibrant viewing experience. This could be a byproduct of the CGI and how the films are made. And, this may or may not actually be happening. Adding in the additional setting of the ocean clans definitely helped out with environment fatigue as well, as even though, the original sights of Avatar 1 are spectacular, it may have gotten a little much, to see the same environment for 3 hours straight, as well as experiencing it in the first film too. And I was a little curious as to how much of the emphasis of this film would mainly be in visuals, especially after seeing the trailer. But it does look like they were able to include a good amount of story in there as well, and other aspects too. I'm sure the visual splendor may be one of the main reasons people go watch this film, though, and one of the major draws, so Avatar does have this going for it too, in terms of a gaining audience. Avatar always seems to look to build upon the technology used as well, and James Cameron too, for that matter. James Cameron seems to also have an additional goal to move movie making and cinema forward in terms of its technology and how they're created. Yet another goal that James Cameron is partaking on. Avatar is definitely a great backdrop to achieving this. A big factor here seems to kind of be combining real-world footage with CGI, as well as incorporating motion capture into this as well. In addition, it looks like he also built an entirely new camera system as well for this film. And also, taking a deep dive into motion capture and visual effects while underwater was yet another monumental task that was embarked on here. So, I can see now why this film may have taken a little longer to make. And one of the main themes explored here in this iteration of Avatar definitely seems to be that of family. It dives into many aspects of the dynamic between family members and seems to have captured these elements well. Kind of goes through and shows how strong a family unit can be when working together and how much can be achieved when this state happens. How it's possible, to work through differences and issues that come up or occur, and the positives that can happen. Afterwards, kind of delves into each individual family member, how they attempt to fulfill a certain familial role, as well as the struggles that come with this. It can show that where others may go their own way or just pass by, the family shares a deeper and stronger bond. It can show how family members can protect each other. It can show how family can be a method of strength and energy for each other in times of need. It can show how children can one day help the parents, as parents have done with them. I do feel like this is a paramount topic today, as it seems that modern day society is embracing more of an individualistic nature and kind of breaking away from this idea of family. Yeah, and, this idea of family can even just mean a community as well, in whatever group or area that may be in. But I feel that the traditional idea of family can, still bring positive aspects and connection within people. It does, though, seem much tougher to find this kind of connection with people, though, in today's society. And some adjustments may help with this in terms of expectation and acceptance. At least being able to find a middle ground, or being willing to find some sort of compromise, which more and more people today seem much less inclined to do. It seems like breaking away from family has kind of made the world more dark and empty, as more and more people are just on their own with little or no stability or warmth to be had. Avatar does a great job of portraying how family can still have many benefits and how it may be able to make our world and society into a stronger, more positive, and vibrant place.